Hi there, I'm Teacher Edgar. We're working with Intentional Teaching Card LL56, finding the matching letter. The objective on this one is demonstrates knowledge of the alphabet. There is a lot to unpack with this activity, not because it's really challenging, but because there's so many things you can do with it. So we're going to explore all those different parts. And the first part is you're going to need to make some alphabet cards. Now, I would recommend using just uppercase for this activity, and you can do it by hand printing. There's my letter T. Or if you have a printer handy, you can print them out. And depending on the needs of the child, let's say they have some difficulty with fine motor skills, you can adapt this by making the cards bigger. Because one of the things we want them to do is to trace these letters with their fingers. So the bigger it is, the easier it is it's going to be to do that very activity. And you're also going to be placing all the letters on a tabletop, and you're going to be asking them to match letters. Now you could put one set out on the table and then give them one and say, can you find this? And while you're doing it, you can also talk about the properties of these letters, meaning what does it look like? If I look at the letter T, for instance, I see two lines that were drawn on there. Oh, that's really interesting, because some of the other letters, like let's say the letter A, it has three straight lines, but they go in a different way. Another thing you can talk about, or another thing you can do actually, is have different types of letters available. And you're going to be maybe using something like this in just a minute, but you can talk about the letter B and say, oh, there's a straight line, but it has two curved lines too. There's a lot to talk about with just the shapes of the capital letters. Once they've explored it, once they start matching the letters, you can move on to the next part. Oh, wait, there's something else really important. What if you have a child that isn't yet ready to be exposed to the entire alphabet all at once? You can make the activity more accessible by limiting the number of letters you're using at one time. There's 26 letters in this alphabet of ours, and that's a lot to look at on one table. That's visual clutter, really, especially if somebody that may have a vision impairment, too much on the table, maybe too hard to interpret. So maybe limit the number of letters you have on the table all at once. Maybe do it with just the first letter of a few students that you have in your class or children that you have at home. But let's go on to the next part of this activity. Now, once you've done the exploration of the letters and the shapes and what it looks like and matching some of them, what you're going to need to prepare are necklaces, or what I prefer, bracelets with one letter of the alphabet on each one of them. Now, I made a bracelet, and this is the letter J. But remember how I was showing you this little bead here? If you have the ability to do it, you can put these beads on pipe cleaners, and one for each letter of the alphabet, and you're going to just make a whole set of these. In fact, you're going to make two sets of these. And the reason is because you're going to have all your kids sit in a circle, all facing each other, and you're going to give each of the kids one letter of the alphabet, but make sure that there are two children with each letter. So in other words, if you have, let's say, 10 kids, you're going to be using 5 letters twice. Because what you're going to do is you're going to have all the kids put on a bracelet, and then they're going to, or a necklace, and they're going to look at that necklace or bracelet, and they have to try and find the matching letter amongst all the other students. So they're really going to begin to notice what those letters look like. They're going to become aware of the shapes, the patterns, the lines that are in those letters as they're walking around the circle, either looking down at their necklace or looking at their bracelet. That's why I like putting it on a bracelet, because it's easier to manipulate your hand and move it around to where you need to see it. And they're going to go around the circle, and then they're going to find that other student with the matching letter and say, I found it. And you can even start naming the letters. Oh, and that's the letter Y. And then you can talk about the sound that those letters make. That's really important. I'd say more important at this point than actually naming the letter. What sound is it? So we're going to hold up that letter Y and just say Y, Y, Y. If you really want to go that extra step, which really sometimes helps. Let's say you have a student that's not yet verbally expressive. You can learn the signs for the letters and also demonstrate the letter manually too, and make it a game for all the kids so they can all play that same game together. So when they hold it up, you can say, oh, that's the letter Y, and it makes the y sound. You can do it with, and then if you play this on multiple days, you can do this with different letters on different days. Don't feel like you have to try and nail every letter of the alphabet all in one game. That's going to take forever. I would say maybe keep this to be a shorter game. And this part of the game where you're having a group of students in a circle may not work at home. Maybe you just have one child. So you can play the game just between the two of you. And just have, you can just lay those few letters out, like maybe my name and your name. Let's see which one is your letter that starts your name. And just have them try to match those two letter cards together. And you can do it with different types of letter props too. I have magnetic letter board here that I can use. And I just lay one set of the letters out and say, can you find this other letter? Oh, yep, there it is. Just like that. Really simple. We just want to match them so we develop an awareness of how each letter is just a little bit different. So, like I said, there's a lot of steps to this game, but there's a lot of different ways to play it. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of material. I just use a piece of paper, a marker, and some pipe cleaner, or you could use string, which we all tend to have at home, or yarn, whatever you've got. And you can eventually build up a set of the entire alphabet. And even if you're at home, you can play a game where you just lay the letter cards out on the rug or the floor and just have them match it. Build up to that whole alphabet. Start small, maybe a small group of letters, and then build up bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a matching game where they really can differentiate all 26 of those uppercase letters. Try it. It's a lot of fun, and this skill will help them with their literacy skills as well as their language development. Have fun. Thanks for watching.